Hello and welcome to the Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now, this weekend marks 1 year since the tragic death of actor Sushant Singh Rajput, a death that appeared to completely take over the media space, and large sections of the media and indeed even viewers were convulsed with just one question: did Sushant commit suicide or was he murdered? Now, reams and reams of newsprint and television prime time have been spent engaging in this one question of Sushant Singh Rajput, and frankly, the tabloidish drama being played out at times was frankly nauseating. And the reason I say that is because we are in a country where thousands of farmers commit suicide, but they don't register on the consciousness, they become a statistic. But an actor allegedly committing suicide becomes one of the longest running television news serials. Now, what made the Sushant case worse, according to me, was the role played by the political class and the investigating agencies, which clearly didn't seem to want to investigate the case and bring closure to it as much as engage in the worst form of politics over a tragedy. Well, the time has come, my friends, for someone to say this loud and clear. The nation ought to know, whether Sushant was murdered or committed suicide, because the fact is that the CBI, the country's premier investigating agency, knows the truth in the case. And it's time now that the truth come out. Remember, it was in October last year, 3 months after the CBI had taken over the case from the Mumbai police, that Dr. Sudhir Gupta, who heads the forensic wing of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, their forensic medical board, he had informed the media then that there were no injuries on the body other than that of hanging. This is exactly what he said. There are no marks of struggle or scuffle on the body and the clothes of the deceased. The Ames report appeared to conclusively suggest that Sushant had died of hanging. And yet, instead of accepting the findings of the premier medical body's forensic board, the CBI chose to maintain a curious silence. In fact, all that they would say was that the investigations are ongoing. Well, that was last year. Now, 11 months since the CBI took over the case, it's time to ask the CBI, what have your investigations found out, sirs and madams? Because, remember, that was in October 2020. Now we are in June 2021. And 11 months since the CBI took over the case and 9 months since that report came out, it's time for the CBI to answer the basic questions in the Sushant Singh Rajput case. Remember, the CBI is a central agency that is supposed to solve a crime, not keep a matter hanging. Remember also, the politicians are not the masters of the CBI. And the Supreme Court made that very clear when they said the CBI cannot be a caged parrot. The fact is that it is we the people who pay the bill for these central agencies to keep functioning. It's our money on which you carry out these investigations, and you've spent crores in the Sushant Singh Rajput case without any accountability. The fact is, this is not the first time that the CBI has played a dubious role, or indeed our enforcement agencies have played a dubious role in an investigation that has a political angle. Let me take you back in time to the late 1980s. The tragic murder of Syed Modi, India's leading badminton player at the time, on the streets of Lucknow. A crime where those accused or those allegedly responsible got acquitted. got away because they had political connections. The entire case appeared to completely get whitewashed. That was in the 1980s. Then, of course, we have had more recently cases again where the role of the police or the enforcement agencies come under a cloud. Look at Shashi Tharoor, the member of parliament's case. His wife, Sunanda Tharoor, allegedly committed suicide, and for the last 8 years, the case has been kept hanging of Shashi Tharoor's alleged abetment to suicide. No attempt to bring a genuine closure to the case or tell the public what you have really found. Why? Because there's a political angle. You know, frankly, in the Sushant case in particular, I'm a bit baffled by this political angle. I mean, Sushant wasn't a politician or someone who had political connections that meant that this case should get this constant political background sound playing. Now, why did the Maharashtra BJP, for example, make unproven allegations that Sushant had been murdered and demanded that the case be transferred out of Mumbai? Was it merely trying to topple the Maharashtra government and somehow drag in Sena chief, son and Minister Aditya Thackeray into the case? What about the Bihar police DGP? Why did he jump into the case and again make unfounded allegations? Why was a high-pitched campaign launched on the internet and on social media making all kinds of wild allegations on a daily basis? And what is it about this one case that every central agency, from the enforcement agency to the Narcotics Control Bureau, got involved in the investigation? The NCB's role is particularly curious. The NCB, the Narcotics Control Bureau's mandate is to chase after big ticket cases involving international connections or interstate connections. And yet the NCP chooses to get involved in an individual drug case like that of Sushant. Sushant's actor girlfriend Riya Chakrabarti is accused and arrested of drug procurement in a case where barely few grams of marijuana are involved. And so are her brothers, so are friends of Sushant or those who work for Sushant. All of them at some stage appear to get arrested in this case. The irony, my friends, and this is the biggest irony in this case, is that if drug procurement or consumption is going to be the heart of the Sushant case, then guess what? If Sushant was alive today, he would be the principal accused in the case. You know, by manufacturing in a way this entire narcotics case in the manner that they have done, the NCB has only confirmed reports that Sushant was indeed on drugs and thereby destroyed his reputation after his tragic death. His girlfriend Riya has had to pay, in a sense, an even bigger real price. She's been a victim of a terrible media witch hunt. She was released on bail after spending nearly a month in Baikala jail. For what crime? Because she allegedly procured a few grams of marijuana for her boyfriend Sushant Singh Rajput. And not to forget the endless questioning of top Bollywood stars. It was, nothing can get more bizarre than the way this case has been conducted. And that is why I say today, 1 year after Sushant's tragic death, it's time for our central investigating agencies to come clean. There has been enough mudslinging, enough reputations have been destroyed, and people's lives have been changed forever. The only way the Sushant case will get some kind of closure, and a way the actor and his memory get some sense of peace and, dare I say, justice, is if the CBI tells the truth now to the country. If there is no evidence that Sushant was murdered as the forensic report clearly indicates, what stops the CBI from making these findings public? Who is the CBI so scared of? Who are you trying to protect by keeping this case on day after day, month after month? The CBI director is now a former Maharashtra DGP. He owes it to his home state in a way to come clean on this issue and tell us exactly what the CBI has found. Sushant's family, his friends, well-wishers, Riya Chakrabarti, all of them deserve to know the truth. Too many games, my friends, have been played. It's time in the Sushant case to stop the charade. Yes, one more thing. Last year, I got an exclusive interview that made headlines with Riya Chakrabarti in Mumbai. I was accused at the time by the social media troll army that had been engaged in the Sushant case of having flown to Mumbai in a special private plane paid for by Riya Chakrabarti or her benefactors to do this interview. So let me today reiterate and set the record straight once again. I did not go by any private plane. I went by a SpiceJet flight in a middle seat in a PPE kit with 2 migrant labor who were returning back to Mumbai after the COVID lockdown had been lifted. My friends, enough of the lies, the slander, the defamation, these Twitter campaigns. It's time to get to the truth now. If Sushant did commit suicide, as it appears likely, please tell the country that. The nation may not want to know, but it surely ought to know. That was the Straight Bat. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Namaskar.